We've heard about all those challenges already, and I don't want to be repetitive, so I just take what Kathy has already mentioned and also what Paolo has mentioned in his introduction, saying that I'm really very pleased to see this new initiative now being created, the European Action Against Rare Cancers. The website is rarecancers.eu, and on that website you will find some background information also, including the 39 recommendations that Paolo referred to earlier. And the goal of this initiative will be ideally, obviously, the implementation of those 39 recommendations somewhere down the line. Obviously, this is not something that is done in weeks or months. This will take some time, but we're really committed to taking one word very seriously in the name of this entity, in the name of this network, and that's the word action. So we don't want to start talking again and discussing things back and forth. We really try to get things implemented. This will be our focus. And I'm very pleased to say that this network, this initiative is already growing, and I've been on board just 5 weeks, and I see this already evolving, and it gives me really great enthusiasm talking about it, because I really see for the first time now that the patient community, the physician community, the research community, the pharmaceutical industry community, they're all talking together now rather than about each other. So I think this is really the perfect platform to move things forward. So this is an initiative, it's a European multi-stakeholder, quote-unquote, initiative, a partnership actually, involving professional societies, cancer and rare cancer disease associations, so also the rare disease associations are on board, and rare cancer networks and reference centers, patient advocacy groups, and the pharmaceutical industry. And having said that, it is my personal hope that we will even get other stakeholders on board as well, including the regulators, for instance. They should also be there. The statisticians, we need to talk to them as well, so that we can have some valid evidence-based information that we can bring to the policy decision makers and say, this is really something that we all the stakeholder groups agree upon. So you as policy decision maker really have to take this seriously and take appropriate steps forward. So the goal, as I said, is the implementation of those 39 political recommendations agreed in November 2008 in Brussels. And those 39 recommendations, for the sake of simplicity, if I may say, have been grouped now under 3 major umbrellas, and Paolo mentioned them earlier. It's the improvement of the methodology of clinical studies in rare cancers. It's the improvement of the organization of healthcare in rare cancers, and it's improving the access of rare cancer patients to new therapies in the EU, and also, as alluded to earlier, access to the clinical expertise across the European Union and in Europe as such. So what do we want to do to improve the methodology in clinical trials? We think that the best way to move forward is to set up a meeting, a symposium, to talk about the methodology of clinical trials and what we can do to make it easier, so that no longer do we have to recruit hundreds and hundreds of patients to do large randomized studies when those patients are either difficult to reach or are simply not available because the disease is so rare. So we really need to make also sure that we look into possibilities to making clinical trials shorter so that drugs come to market earlier. So these are discussions we need to have with statisticians as well, and as you can imagine, putting, for instance, a clinical oncologist and a statistician in one room and then having discussions involves a lot of terminology that myself and also many representatives from the patient community will have a difficult time understanding. So we need to break that down also, that all of us can sit in this room together and make sure all of us will understand and can contribute to this discussion, and then put this into a meaningful and also for policy decision makers understandable format. So at the end of the day, we should have a position paper that really deserves the name position paper, that we can put in front of policy decision makers and say, this is something you can understand and you have to appreciate and take appropriate steps. And afterwards, once this position paper is there, we obviously plan on having a series of advocacy initiatives over several months, if not years, to really make sure that this is not only being discussed at the European level, and I'll speak about that in a minute, but also at the national level. Now, improving the organization of healthcare in rare cancers also means there are already reference centers of excellence in cancer care available in several countries across Europe, but those cancer centers, they need to work together across country borders. They really need to put all their expertise together, and we have those networks in place already, but also those networks need to work together. So we need networks of networks, that the information and best practice is really shared across Europe, so that there is win-win situations really at multiple level and really spread across Europe for everybody who is having a stake here in researching rare cancers. So those collaborative networks working together. And then we also want to look into national cancer plans. What do each individual country governments have written in their national cancer plans, and how are rare cancers reflected there? And also the national rare disease plans. Do rare cancers have a place there? And if not, is there anything we can do to make sure they do have that? So we feel it would be appropriate to do some observational studies and or surveys to find out how those collaborative networks can work together, what makes for a good functional network, what are the criteria, and also what is the situation regarding the national cancer and rare disease plans. And after that, come up with clear, concrete guidelines saying these are quality criteria of collaborative networks on healthcare of rare cancer patients. And finally, speaking about the improvement of access of rare cancer patients to new therapies and also to clinical expertise in Europe, I'd like to say that we have to meet with the European and the national regulatory authorities and also the payers. We have to make them see each other. And we understand that the European Medicines Agency is not very happy to see that they have approved a certain number of rare cancer drugs, but those drugs then are not readily available in EU member states. So this is something they also must find unacceptable. And we are very confident that together with them and the national decision makers, we will come to really meaningful conclusions and steps as to what can be done to make sure all approved drugs are available in every single European Union member state. So this is one step. And obviously after that, we'll try to set up a workshop, bringing all those people together, discussing what we should do at the European and also at national level, and come up with consensus policy recommendations about that for the approval and also for the reimbursement specifically of new drugs in rare cancers. And subsequently, we are planning an awareness campaign around that. And lastly, we also plan a series of educational events, medical educational events, but also again involving not just, quote unquote, the medical community, but also all the other stakeholder communities. So we really see this as a joint effort. And we also look beyond the cancer community as such, because as Paolo has said earlier, we also need to get the pathology community involved, for instance. We also need to get the general practitioner community involved, because delays in diagnosis also have to do, as Kathy also said, with delays in the referral system. Sometimes they just look at patients, and I mean this in a negative way, but they just look at patients and say, we have to wait, we have to observe this longer, rather than sending, if the symptoms are unclear, sending somebody to an expert or somebody who might be an expert to really have a second opinion and see if he or she can come up with a proper diagnosis. So timely diagnosis is really, since we cannot really embark on prevention, we really have to focus here on timely diagnosis and appropriate, proper diagnosis. So this is also something we want to do, and we are obviously already in discussions with the European Society of Pathology. They seem to be very receptive here, and we're looking forward also to working with the general practitioner community. And we are envisioning implementing also sessions at various congresses, GP congresses, pathology congresses, and various cancer congresses where rare cancer issues can be discussed. Thank you very much.